Walmart just made $3 billion, not for selling groceries, from selling ads. The biggest retailers in America are building a second business hidden inside the first one. A business with profit margins so high they make the grocery operation look like a rounding error. By the end of this, you will understand exactly how they built it, who is winning, and what it means for every dollar you spend in a store. Walmart's total revenue in fiscal year 2024 was $648 billion. That number dominates every headline. But a far smaller figure, $3.4 billion from advertising alone, is where the story of the next decade of retail actually begins. That advertising division grew 28% in a single year, and it is only getting started. For the better part of 6 decades, Walmart's model was almost brutally simple. Negotiate ruthlessly with suppliers, buy an extraordinary volume, pass the savings to customers, and collect the small margin left over. Repeat across thousands of locations. The formula worked so well that Walmart became the largest company by revenue in the history of the world. But the model carries a structural vulnerability that has always existed. Grocery and general merchandise retail runs on some of the thinnest margins in any industry, often between 2 and 3% after costs. Walmart compensates by moving staggering volume. Any meaningful disruption to that volume, and the entire machine starts to strain. Then Amazon rewired the entire system. By 2022, Amazon controlled nearly 38% of all U.S. e-commerce. Walmart's online share remained stuck in the single digits. But the more dangerous revelation was not Amazon's retail operation. It was what Amazon had quietly built alongside it. Amazon had constructed a second engine running parallel to its retail business, Amazon Web Services, and a rapidly expanding advertising division. Those two units generated margins that dwarfed anything retail could produce. And crucially, they subsidized Amazon's ability to undercut competitors on price. Retail, for Amazon, was never the profit center. It was the customer acquisition funnel. Amazon's advertising business now generates over $46 billion annually, more than Walmart, Target, and Dollar General's advertising divisions combined, and then some. For Walmart's leadership, the lesson was not subtle. The most profitable thing you can do with a retailer's infrastructure is not sell products through it. It is sell attention through it. Here is what Walmart had that Amazon never could replicate. 4,600 physical stores, visited by 230 million customers every single week. For years, analysts called that footprint a liability. Too expensive, too inflexible, doomed by e-commerce. What they missed is that those stores were not a weakness. They were the most valuable advertising real estate in the country, and they have been sitting there generating grocery margins for 60 years. A retail media network operates on a straightforward but powerful premise. It gives brands the ability to pay a retailer directly to reach shoppers at the precise moment they are ready to make a purchase decision. Not while they are browsing social media, not while they are watching television, but while they are standing in the aisle or scrolling the app with their wall already open. When Procter & Gamble wants Tide to appear at the top of Walmart's app search results, they bid for that placement. When Pepsi wants premium digital shelf position on Walmart.com, they pay for it. Every single touchpoint in the shopping journey, search, browse, checkout, receipt, has become a billable surface, and the brands are lining up to pay. The physical transformation of the store is happening in plain sight. Walmart has deployed more than 170,000 digital screens across its locations. Each screen is a programmatic advertising surface. Brands bid for airtime the same way they once bid for television slots. But the audience standing in front of these screens has already driven to the store to buy something. The trajectory of Walmart Connect tells you everything about where this is heading. From $1.2 billion in 2020 to $3.4 billion in 2024, nearly tripling in 4 years. Industry analysts now project Walmart's advertising revenue could exceed $8 billion by 2027. That would place it inside the top 10 digital advertising platforms in the United States. Target moved faster and more quietly than most in the industry expected. Its advertising platform, Roundel, crossed $2 billion in revenue with 165 million loyalty members generating data signals. Target's competitive advantage is its shopper demographic, younger, higher income, and deeply brand conscious. For consumer goods companies, that profile commands a significant premium. What makes Target's loyalty data so valuable to advertisers is its specificity. Every purchase, every app interaction, every digital coupon redeemed builds a profile that gets sharper with each visit. That precision targeting cannot be replicated by a platform that only knows what you search for. Target knows what you actually bought last Tuesday and what you almost bought instead. The most underestimated player in this emerging industry is Dollar General. With more than 19,000 locations, more stores than McDonald's and Starbucks combined, Dollar General operates heavily in rural and lower-income communities that traditional digital advertisers have chronically underserved. Its media network, DGMN, gives brands access to an audience that is largely invisible to the major platforms and deeply valuable to consumer staples companies. This single comparison explains every strategic decision these retailers have made over the past 4 years. Selling a box of cereal might yield a margin of 2 to 3% after the full cost stack. Selling an advertisement placed in front of someone about to buy that box of cereal generates a margin of 70 to 80%. Advertising is not a supplementary revenue line. It is the single most profitable business a retailer can operate. The real weapon in all of this is something the industry calls first-party data. When you scan your Walmart Plus card or tap your Target Circle app, every single transaction is recorded and attributed to your profile. What you bought, what you skipped, whether you responded to an ad, whether you switched brands when a competitor offered a coupon. These retailers are not just selling ad placements. They're selling closed-loop proof that the ad worked, something no social platform or search engine can deliver with the same confidence. The collapse of the third-party cookie has accelerated this shift dramatically. For years, platforms like Google and Meta tracked users across the open web through cookies embedded in browsers. Regulators in Europe and the United States have systematically dismantled that infrastructure. Retailers, sitting on mountains of direct, transactional data, requiring no cookies at all, stepped into that vacuum at exactly the right commercial moment. Walmart and its peers are not running a niche side business. They are directly competing with the two dominant advertising platforms in the world. Google sells intent. Meta sells attention. Retailers sell something categorically more powerful, verified proof of purchase. They do not know what you were thinking about buying. They know what you carried out of the store. The monetization of physical retail space has moved well beyond the screen at the end of the aisle. Self-checkout displays rotate brand advertisements between every transaction. Shopping cart-mounted screens run targeted video content based on your purchase history. Even audio zones inside stores are being evaluated as advertising inventory. Every square foot of the retail environment is now under review for what it can generate beyond the product it holds. The speed of this market's growth is difficult to fully absorb. Retail media advertising in the United States was $14 billion in 2020. Analysts project it will exceed $128 billion by 2028. That figure would place it above the entire U.S. television advertising market. The entire television industry, built over 70 years, surpassed in under a decade by an ad format that did not meaningfully exist 15 years ago. But the risks embedded in this model are real and growing. Consumers are already reporting frustration with sponsored results, flooding app search, and digital shelf displays. Smaller brands with limited media budgets are being systematically displaced by Unilever, Nestle, and Kraft in sponsored auction environments. Regulators in the U.S. and European Union are scrutinizing how retailers collect, retain, and profit from behavioral purchase data. And the advertisers paying billions for these placements have limited independent verification that the performance numbers they're being shown are accurate. What is happening inside Walmart, Target, and Dollar General is not a tactical adjustment. It is a fundamental redefinition of what a retailer actually is. The store is no longer primarily a place where you acquire products. It is a media platform, one that happens to also sell groceries and household goods. Every visit you make generates data. Every transaction contributes to a profile. And that profile is now the asset that these companies are selling, whether you are aware of it or not. The company that built the largest retail operation in history on the promise of low prices is now building its future on something far more valuable than anything sitting on its shelves. The next era of retail will not be won by whoever can source products cheapest or deliver them fastest. It will be won by whoever understands their customer most completely and finds the most ways to sell that understanding to the highest bidder.